All right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this fine Friday afternoon. I wanted to do a quick video to highlight something really, really cool. I think you can see it in the background there. The Exorcist Codex by Two Starving Knolls. First, a big shout out to my buddy Bry. He turned me on to this game, and I looked at a couple images, and I knew immediately I had to get it. Now, that being said, I mean everybody here knows I'm a game collector, and I saw this and I looked at the art, and I'm not a horror fan. I'm not real big on Call of Cthulhu. I'm not real big on horror games in general. Aliens, I mean, can be a horror game, can be a high action game. Alien by God, I forgot, Free League. But something about this game just drew it to me. I remember as a young kid, as a wee lad, my mom, and my mom has passed, but my mom is a huge fan, or was a huge fan of horror movies. I am not, and I'll tell you why. We'll get a little preamble here before we get into it. My mom loved horror movies. Was her biggest thrill. Would go to the movies, and this is back in the 70s, the early 70s and early 80s, when going to the movie theater was an experience, right? You went to the movie. There was no HBO. There was no Cinemax. I think maybe late 80s there was. I don't remember. Anyway, so when you went to the movie theater, it was awesome. And I remember going to see Star Wars 1970. I think it was 1977. I was 10 years old. I was super excited. And I just walked out of the theater asking my mom, could we go again? And even though my mom had to get up at like 4 a.m. to go to work, she took me, turned right back around. Me and my two older brothers, or two younger brothers, the other two brothers were at home with a babysitter because they weren't old enough and they wouldn't have enjoyed the movie. They were too young. Paid again, and money was tight, man. We grew up very poor in Brooklyn, but took us back into the theater so we could watch it again. I was that animated and that excited. And Star Wars, episodes 4, 5, and 6 were everything to me as a wee lad, a 10-year-old boy. I had all the action figures. I had all the toys. I would trade my comics for action figures. And anyway, that being said, my mom's was a huge fan of horror movies, but she didn't like to watch them by herself. And me being the oldest of 5 boys, she would take me to the movie theater to see horror movies. Yeah, and you wonder why I don't like horror movies. And I remember seeing The Exorcist on the big screen. I remember seeing Damien Omen 1, 2, and 3 on the big screen with my mom. Yeah, not a fan of horror movies. That being said, traumatized, maybe a little. Some people might say my mom was bad, but you know what? I will treasure those times with my mom because it was just me and her, and she would be so excited coming out of the movie theater and talking about it. So I would have nightmares. I'd have to sleep with the light on. I'd go crawl in her bed. I'd go crawl in my brother's bed. I was traumatized, but it meant the world to my mom. And it is one of those fond memories that I have of me and my mother. And it was just her and I. We couldn't take the younger siblings because they just couldn't handle it. I had to grow up fast because I was the man of the house. My father left when I was 6. Anyway, you get where this is going. Fast forward to March 2026 on I think it was a weekend evening or maybe a Wednesday evening. I get a text from my buddy Bry, I call him my game master because I game master for everybody else. Brian games masters for me. And Brian is the closest thing to family I have. He is a brother from another mother. I would call, his mom would call, and she would be like, "Oh, John's there. Yeah, tell him I'll make a sandwich. He can come on over." And Big Mo they were always super nice. And I never got to meet them, and more's the pity for that, because I feel like I would have been the big brother that Brian needed to his parents. But they were wonderful people with the little interaction that I had with them. And Brian is a wonderful person, and I love him to death. And I'm getting mushy. And anyway, he called me up and he said, "Check this out." And he sent me some pictures and some text. And I believe he got the same version I got. I got the slip cover right there, which is a beautiful cover, and all of what I'm going to show you fits in that sleeve, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to tell you right now, the quality, amazing. The game company is Two Starving Knolls. I don't know much about them. I know they put out a couple of other games and a couple of supplements, but this is the first I've heard of them. If anybody knows who they are, please send them this video and tell them I said Mr. Mean says thank you, because this is a beautiful game. And again, I'm not a horror fan. I don't want to play horror. I don't like viscera, blood and guts, but that's not what the Exorcist Codex is. The Exorcist Codex is, in my opinion, from what I've read, is about humanity being the best that it can and fighting the darkness. And what is the darkness? The darkest is demons. And it's our job to fight them and keep them out of the domain of earth, the realm of man. And what's great about this game is they give you a history lesson, and the pre-civilization, when man was, all about tribalism and shamans, and, the early days of the Catholic Church, the Roman Empire, we knew about demons, and they were real, and they fought tooth and nail to take over our realm, and we knew how to fight them. But as time went on and we beat them back, we got lazy as a human species, as a society, which is true. And so we uh, kind of gave. I don't want to say we gave up the fight, but we became less proactive in our dealings with the demonic and fighting them, and that gave the demonic host the ability to worm their way into our society and start destroying all of the old records, the scrolls, the tablets, the tomes that dictated how to fight the demonic host. And then they killed those shamans, or they discredited them, and so on and so forth. And so they built a power base. And it's the early 1900s, I believe, 1890s. This is a very gaslight Call of Cthulhu. I think it's 1920s, maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head. If you watch this, you can put it in the notes down there. But I want to say it's around 1910, 1920, maybe even 1930s, judging by some of the tech that's in the book. But the point is, they are now strong in the timeline of the game. And the problem is, we've lost most of the ability to fight back. And so there's barely enough hanging on to fight back to keep them from taking total control. Because once they take total control, then it becomes hell on earth, and it will be bad. It'll be end of days. And so there's a few heroes. I don't want to say heroes. There's a few disciples of faith, whether it be for coin, for glory, for the sake of being good, for the church, for your religion, for your tribe, for your own well-being, that are fighting back. And you, the player characters, are one of those people. And your job in this game is to fight back the demons. And this game uses the Mithras game engine, so very similar to Call of Cthulhu or basic role playing. It's a D100 game, and your job is to play in this fantasy realm, in this uh, fantasy realm of fiction, where demons are real, and evil is real, and it's your job to fight it back. And there's a lot of bad in the world and very little good. And so I don't want to say, I don't want to paint it as a bleak, dark game, but it's one of those things that if you don't pick up the sword to fight, who will? And I think the game does a really good job of setting that up for you and putting you in that situation to make you feel good about the choices that you're trying to make. I think this game very much empowers the players to make meaningful and impactful choices, with a caveat: the GM has to put them in that spot and give them the spotlight to do that. And from what I've read of the GM section, they give you all the tools to do this. This is a game, this is a thinking GM's game. And I don't consider myself a thinking GM. I'm very much an action GM. I like conflict, and every once in a while I like moral choices. And this is a game that you can do it all. So what I'm going to do is I made myself a little script here, or not a script, but some cliff notes about the books to give you a taste and maybe give you an interest that you'll go pick this up and support Two Starving Knolls, because I think they really deserve it. I know my buddy Brian bought the Adventure Codex, or whatever the big adventure book is. You know what? I'm going to go to their website and see what if I could type starving. I'm going to see what all they have to offer. They have a Facebook page. All right, so we have the Exorcist Codex, the core rule book, the book itself, which is the white cover, which looks like that cover back there, will run you $45.99. So it's on sale right now. And this is in US dollars. You can also get the Exorcist Codex, or the GM's Guide, for $38.99. You can get the rule book bundle and save yourself a couple of bucks for $79.99. Or you can get what I got, and I believe Brian got the same thing. You can get the Exorcist Codex Deluxe bundle for $179.99 plus shipping and handling, of course. And that comes with the GM's Guide, the Rules Codex, a packet of character sheets, and we'll go over those in a second, and a heavy cardboard GM screen with a full color front. And I can't show it there, but oh, they have notebooks. Oh, wow. I didn't see that. They can also get everything as a PDF, $17.99 for the core rule book, which is a little bit bigger than the GM's book. The GM book you can get for $14.99. So I personally think these two are a steal, with companies charging, I think Paizo now is charging $24.99 or $29.99 for a PDF. And if it's one of their core PDFs for one of the big books, it's like $39.99, which I think is absolutely ridiculous for a PDF. Your PDF should be your gateway drug and get you into the game. But I digress. I believe it is the Winchester Tales is what my buddy Brian bought, and that's it's a full-blown adventure. But they also do Pax Cthulhiana, which is a print on demand or PDF, and then Tome of Skills, which I believe is for 5th edition, I think. And they have a couple other smaller products, but that's pretty much what they have. About Two Starving Knolls, the Possessed. So their games are the Exorcist Codex, the Possessed. Possessed appears to be a board game. Yeah. Yeah. I was hoping it would tell me more. They do have a Discord. They were at Essenspiel 2025. What is a logo? Starving Knolls. And so they're big into Call of Cthulhu back in 1992. So yeah, so I'll have to check out their website a little bit more, but I wanted to give you those prices. So what do you get for your $180 if you buy the collector's box set? And it's a sleeved box set. I don't want to call it collector's, but you get the covers. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I would have preferred that cover on this. The black with the silver embossed is very nice. The quality of these books is amazing. I wish they would have had ribbons in them, but they don't. But that's okay. They are beautiful. The GM's Guide, and here it is right here. Hopefully you can see it really, really well. The GM's Guide is full color, 188 pages, hardback. It is Smith sewn in there in the binding, so it's not going to fall apart anytime soon. It is full color front plate and full color on the back plate. It is everything in here. I want to see if I can find a good picture. I should have bookmarked something. Oh, here we go. True rulers. So I mean, the art is phenomenal. It does have that like oil color, kind of blurry in some things, but it's amazing. The art is really well done. It very much sets the theme. And if you don't believe this game is about demons, there you go. That is a demon guard. So it uses the Mithras. So you have, you have your strength, your constitution, your dexterity, your power, your charisma, your size, and your initiative. Uh, so your GM book's going to have your bestiary. It is, again, 188 pages, a full table of contents, a full index. The one thing to point out in here that I thought was amazing, and we'll go over it a little bit more when we get to that part. One of the mechanics this game uses is demon dice. So you're going to get 3d6, preferably black with maybe gold or blood red, numbers or pips or whatever. But the demon dice, you have to have 3 of these dice. And I was amazed that they don't sell them on the website, or they didn't come with this. I thought that would have been a nice little touch, but it didn't. I don't know if this was Kickstarted. Maybe that was an option in the Kickstarter. I do not know. But what I will say is a neat mechanic, and we'll go over it a little bit more when we get to that. There's a handout, or not a handout, but there's a prop, not a prop. There's a sheet that you can use because your players need to know. There are some not safe for work pictures in here, so I don't want to put those up on the screen, but there's some boobies and things like that. And then, of course, the demons are a tad bit on the disturbing side, some of them. It's very well done, though. It's very tasteful. It's not, meant to be erotic or egregious in its presentation. It is what it is. Some black and white art in here. It is amazing. The table of contents is very well done. You got 6 parts. Part 1 is your game master tools, player characters, demon dice, dreams, visions, and clues. Then part 2 is demonic elements. This is your demon realms and portals, demonic items, demonic powers. Part 3, cultist and rituals, because let's face it, you can't have demons without cultists. Everybody knows this. So, and the cultists will always lead you to bigger and badder things. So find the cultist first. All the stuff you need for cultists. Part 4 is the Demonomicon. It's pretty self-explanatory. Part 5 is creatures and NPCs, beast, infernal creatures and adversaries and NPCs. And then part 6 is 3 playable scenarios and then scenario types. This is the part I keyed in on, because remember, I'm more of an action GM. I don't like a lot of emotional turmoil in my games. I use it sometimes, very, very rarely, but I like my games to be more action oriented. So hence, I tend to run games like Pathfinder and Savage Worlds, high octane, things, superhero games. I'm running Mutants and Masterminds right now, and I'm currently a player in a Pathfinder Fantasy 2nd edition game. But I am going to run Starfinder 2nd edition when we take a break, or when we can't get everybody together for Pathfinder. We've all agreed that I'm going to run Starfinder for it's basically Pathfinder in space. But that way, because we all know the mechanics and everything like that. So anyway, so yeah, there's 3 playable scenarios in the back of the GM's guide. It is amazing. So that is the GM's guide. Like I said, beautiful hardback. It's solid. It's a beautiful book. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. The next thing is the GM screen. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this brought back a little trauma. Sorry, a little cough there. The cover of the Exorcist Codex GM screen. And if you know what this is, If you, I don't need, what am I doing? I have a microphone on. If you know what this is, then you'll know where my trauma comes from, and it relates to the beginning opening story that I told you with my mom. There's two other pieces of art, very much, I would say, inspired by like Indiana Jones, which you could run this like an Indiana Jones game. It is totally in that vein. It would work. I think BRP is a phenomenal set of mechanics. Combat is very lethal, and it falls into this game as well. Don't start a fight unless the odds are in your favor or you have absolutely no other choice. Don't start a fight willy-nilly. It's going to go bad for you. It's basically, you know, basic role playing, Mithras, all of that. So combat is deadly, and of course you have guns in this, so it's not going to be good. You get hit with a gun, and you're hurting, and there's not a whole lot of magical healing in this, so you're going to be down for some time. And I kind of like that. There's a high lethality to this game. So the GM screen is a quad fold. My only gripe here is I wish it was a little thicker. It's a bit on the thin side. I would say it's 3 mils thick, maybe two. It's pretty thin. It's a heavy card, um, double the thickness of a cereal box. So it's, I mean, I don't think it's going to fall apart or anything. It seems to be put together very well. But yeah, it's on the thin side for my taste. So on the first panel, we have communication, and what's great here is they give. I don't want to bend it because, and I don't ever think I'll get to run this, by the way, but I just thought it was such a beautiful set, and I wanted to support this indie game company. And when I saw Brian's set, I was just tickled pink. So I said, I got to get this. Um, Page numbers. Oh my God, how revolutionary is this? Page numbers for certain things, communication, all of the page numbers you need, manipulation, page numbers, perception, page numbers, combat, page numbers, mental, page numbers. You get where I'm going with this. You've got a resistance table, you've got movement rates, situational modifiers. Again, you're the GM. These are things you're going to need to know. Availability of goods and services. Uh, uh, you know, no page numbers on that, but it's a percentile roll. So it just depends on how, if you want to leave it to chance, or you can just pick it out. Degree of effects for skill rolls, basically, sacred rites, perform and perform instead of sacred rite. Yeah, you could use performance. So all kinds of rituals. Core rulebook, page 251. There you go. So major wound table, demonic energy field, like that falls back to our 666, the demonic dice. So there's a little chart in here. There's also a little bit of an explanation on the insert that they give you to lay out on the table so your players can see, because this is the cool thing, and we'll get to that. Attack and defense matrix, because again, it's based off of BRP, basic roleplay, and the demonic dice in the GM's guide, page 26. So we get page numbers for pretty much everything we need. And of course, it's a very nice GM screen, and it's hardback. It's not going anywhere. I do kind of wish it was a little thicker. That's my only gripe. All right. You also get a full character pack. There's about 25 character sheets in here, or 20. I didn't count them, but they are 2 pages. Blah, blah, 2 pages of 8.5 by 11. I'm going to put this over here. 2 pages of 8.5 by 11, or an 11 by 17 that are folded in half, and it's your full character sheet. So I really like that. It's attention to detail. There's a blank page for notes. There's the Holy Faith, Spirit Points, Power Points, Codex lore, weapons, armor, movement, and equipment on the back sheet. Excuse me. And then on the front sheet is your character sheet with your hit points, characteristics, your personal information, and then all your skills. And like BRP and Mithras, there's a checkbox for when you fail the skill, you can make a check mark, and you can level it up when your GM gives you some experience points. and there's experience bonuses on there. So it's a full-fledged character sheet, folded in half, 11 by 17. I did not see a digital character sheet yet, but this is, I mean, you got 25 of these, so you've got plenty, to go through, because some players like to make multiple characters. My players will totally write everything on a sheet of paper and be done with it. Now, this is what I thought was really cool, that they included this in the character sheets. This is the demon dice board. And there's the 3 spots for your dice. And then on the back side, there's a little bit of information for the GM: 1 die, 2 die, 3 die. Nothing happens when the dice are on anything except 666. But I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase that. Nothing happens on the dice until a 6 shows up. And there's basic mechanics, normal strength, no dice showing a 6. So if all the dice, and the dice start at 111, and then as things happen, the players fail to do things, or the timeline escalates, the severity of the situation, you flip a die, or maybe you flip 2 dice, or maybe you flip all 3 dice to the next number. I didn't see anywhere where it explicitly says to flip more than 1 die or multiple dice more than 1 number, like say going from 1 to 3. But each published adventure that they do will have specific rules for what the demon dice do. And if that adventure doesn't specifically tell you what the DM dice do, you refer to the GM section. I think it was page 26 or whatever, 86 or whatever the page number was on the GM screen. You refer to that section, you go off of there, and it has basic general guidelines. And basically what happens is, like, when if you've got 1 die showing a 6, ritual's degree of success is -5%. So you lose 5%. Divine power destiny roll, -5%. Demonic corruption roll, this is basically like your sanity in Call of Cthulhu, +5. And it gets worse as more dice come up 6. Now, that being said, there's nothing that says you as the GM can't say the situation's getting more tense or more demonic when the dice hit 5s. Like when you get 2 5s or maybe 3 5s, it's easy enough to say, it's a summer's night, you're in this mansion, or maybe you're in the basement or whatever, this cultist area, and they're suspected of summoning demons, and the 3rd dice hits 555s. There's nothing wrong with the GM going, you notice you can see your breath, there's a definite chill in the air, it's middle of summer, you can see your breath, there's a chill in the air, clear, anything to raise that spookiness, that level of tension. And that's what that's what the demonic dice are supposed to do. They're supposed to raise the tension and let the players know, hey, you're on a clock here, you need to move, you need to make things happen, for good or for bad. And something tells me that if you make bad, if you don't do well, more bad things. So it's an escalating series of events. The more things you screw up, the more the demon dice escalate. And when they hit 666, the shit literally hits the fan, and it's going to be bad. So the demon board, the demonic board, demon dice board, super cool. I personally would probably laminate this or put it in a sleeve protector so that it doesn't get mangled. But it is on a heavy sheet of cards. And then last but not least, we have the core rule book. Again, kind of like that faux leather. It's paper or whatever, cardboard, but it looks like leather, and it kind of feels like it. And it's got the nice embalmed sigil. And again, this is 299 pages, full table of contents, full index, everything you need to know to make your character, to choose your class. I like that they start out with a timeline of demonic conflicts. I mean, it's just cut and dry. Welcome to the shadows. Your introduction, your journey begins. And they give you a little preamble. There's inspiration for media and setting the atmosphere. There's also a brief little excerpt about the Call of Cthulhu, BRP, and the Exorcist Codex, a new take on a classic Foundation. So kind of give you some history there of where it's going. Uh, and it goes from the prehistoric area, banishment of the Eternals, all the way to the unseen war, cultist infiltrations, and the gradual return of the archdemons, 2500 BC to present. And let's see, do they say? Um, I want to see if they give like a default timeline, but I don't think they don't say it's 1930. They just say present. So maybe you can run this in the now. I didn't see the art and everything leads me to believe that it's um like the 1920s 1930s. And see if I could find one of the quick ways, a great way of finding out a time frame for a game is to look at the technology or like weapons and see what they have. If the best weapon they have is like a 45, then you're looking at World War, basically World War II. I'm just trying to see. Again, I should have pocket watch, lock picking equipment. Box camera. Yeah, see, we've got. We're looking at turn of the century, 1920s, 1930s. Again, giving your homage to Call of Cthulhu. Gear and resources. Yeah. So, oh man, yeah. See, we got revolvers, things like that. So, that availability chart comes in handy again. We're looking at swords, very common, butcher knife. Sorry, I've got a wicked cough. Yeah, we're looking at shotguns, revolvers, large and small, bolt action rifles. Yeah, so we are looking at chainmail, ringmail, clothing leather, clothing heavy, yeah, and then heavy leather. So yeah, we're looking at turn of the century, bolt action rifle, World War One, World War II at best. Lock picking tools, all the gear you can need, full color. Let me see if I can find a good art picture in here. I love the images that they gave for the player characters. Let me see. Those are in the beginning. Let me find one of those. Yeah, here we go. You can be a private exorcist. You can be an occult detective. You can be a priest. You can be a futsumasi. Futsumashi. You can be an order guardian. So look at the art there, guys. Beautiful. So these are basically the classes, the roles, the jobs you can have. Church licensed exorcist, demonologist. And of course, it goes, rolling your attributes and everything, and it gives you a couple of different options. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 professions. So everything from church licensed exorcist, all the ones I mentioned, to a relic hunter, a shaman, a spiritual medium, and a vanguard. Order guardian, order detective, a priest. So you can set up your cadre however you like. The players can come from all walks of life. It gives you everything in here that you need. The weight of failure. Oh, I love that. So yeah, there's fiction that's interposed between the book. It's very well done. Foundation and dogma. Part 2, the system. So it's going to go over all your mechanics. It's a full, complete game. You don't need the BRP rule book. You don't need a Call of Cthulhu rule book. This is everything you need right here. Core rules. So everything to make your character, outfit your character, and use the rules. And of course, the GM book has a bunch of information in it. So we're coming up on 35 minutes of me rambling. I hope you feel and see my excitement for this, and it entices you to go get a copy of this. Even if you can only do the PDFs, I think they're very reasonably priced. $17.99 for the core book, $14.99 for the GM's guide. I mean, what is the $35, basically $36, and you've got everything. That's a banging deal. That's cheaper than the core book for Pathfinder as a PDF. So not to throw shade on Paizo, they're doing a great job. I love their books. I just getting tired of their price hikes. But anyway, I don't want to digress. I'm jonesing on this. My buddy Brian is planning on running like a one shot for this. Who knows? It may go longer. I am so excited to play. I'm so giddy because I can see every profession has its draw, its enticement for why I want to play that. A relic hunter or a relic guardian are kind of reaching out to me, but then again, also playing an exorcist could be cool. One of the joys that my mother gave me and my siblings was we went to every type of church. We explored all religions, everything from Christianity to Buddhism, to Taoism. You know, so I have a little bit of knowledge of all of those. My ex-wife was a Jehovah Witness. My current wife was raised Baptist. So I have experience and can draw on all of that. So like maybe being some sort of vanguard or a shaman. I'm Native American. I was raised, with shamanism, and that's a prominent feature of my culture and my history. Uh, so yeah, pretty. I mean, I could go with any of those routes and would be perfectly happy with them. A private exorcist, could, or an occult detective. I was a former police officer in real life. So, doing some of this I mean, I could draw on real life experiences into it's everything. All of these professions have a draw for me. The order guardian, basically a holy warrior, paladin for, if you want to put it in fantasy terms. uh, they all have a draw, and I'm equally excited about all of them. There's not one of them that I look at and I go, nah, no, I don't want to play that. I could play all of them and be totally. If if someone handed me a pre-generated character and said we're going to play, I wouldn't mind. I would play any of these. Any of these professions are all tasty and super cool. So, with that being said, I hope this gives you a taste of the Exorcist Codex by Two Starving Gnolls. Support the game if you can. If you've got it, if you've played it, put it down in the notes below and let me know what you think. I'm pretty happy with this. I think my buddy Gwydion at RPG Frequencies, I think he did a solo play of this. So go check out his channel if you want to see how it plays solo. He mentioned some other tools that he uses along with this to facilitate solo role playing. I'm not into solo role playing only because I have a group and I have an online community that I can. If I say I want to run games, I can find someone to run a game or to play games with. So anyway, check it out. I'm babbling now. I think it's awesome. Uh, Go support a indie company and let me know what you think about it. As always, peace and hair grease. Like and subscribe, as the ticker says. You can support me on Ko-Fi. You can support me on Patreon. Um, like and subscribe. That's the biggest win right there. Share the video with your friends. As always, peace and hair grease. If I can answer any questions, put them in the notes below. I respond to almost every message that anybody sends. So again, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a good one. I'll see you next time. And remember, as always, Mr. Mean says, be nice.